Some thresholds are not crossed by choice. They come from a conversation with your doctor, a natural disaster, or a car accident. These are called trials, and in this life we will have trials, won't we? For example, Brian Butler recently went to the doctor and discovered that he has a massive cyst on his right kidney. But this is not his first rodeo. He has faced even more serious trials before. Welcome to Crossing the Threshold, the weekly radio broadcast that transforms life's hardest moments into major personal breakthroughs. I am your host, Garrett Hamlin. Fortunately, Brian is sitting in the studio with me today to tell us how he survived a stack of horrible news. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, thanks for having me, Garrett.
Thanks for being here. This is going to be an exciting conversation, I know. So, let's talk about where you are right now in life. You recently moved back to Prescott Valley.
That's correct.
What brought you back here?
Mainly the weather. We love the weather here. We love the people here. And I had my real estate license still active here. And we decided to come back and put down roots and stay put this time.
I think that's a good choice. Yes, so many people say the weather is why we came here. Does the altitude bother you at all? The elevation here being 5,000-ish feet?
No, we lived in Big Bear, California, which is even higher than this for a while. And so we're pretty much used to it.
Okay, right on. And you mentioned that you're a real estate agent. For everybody listening, I happen to know Brian through real estate, and I know that he is a fantastic real estate agent. So if you happen to be thinking about moving, Google him, Brian Butler Realtor, and reach out to him.
Thank you.
All right. Well, life wasn't always this stable as you have it right now. 10 years ago, you had cancer, right?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Can you tell us about that time in your life? What was it like when you first heard about the cancer, and how did that go?
So it was in 2016, and I was just tired all the time, fatigued, and went to my doctor, and they ran tests, and they found out I was anemic, which means you have a bleed somewhere. So then they ran more tests, and they came back and said, well, you've got cancer. We're detecting cancer. So more tests came up, and then in November of 16, they said, yeah, you have stage 2 colon cancer, and but there is a large section of your colon that we need to take out to get it out of your body because it's going to spread fast. And so
Yikes.
that was really, really scary news to hear.
Yeah, where did your mind go when you first, was it a phone call or was it in person that you got that news?
It was in person at the doctor's office. I could see it on the doctor's face before they even said anything.
Yeah.
I knew, walked in the room and he had that look on his face, and my wife and I looked at each other like, oh boy, this isn't good.
Yeah.
And so then he gave us the news, and I don't know, it's kind of shocking at first when they first tell you. You kind of sit there and you're thinking, is this real? This can't happen to me,
Right.
You hear it happening to all kinds of other people, but it can't happen to me. And then it kind of sets in, oh yeah, this is happening to me. And so we, decided, well, we got to do what we got to do to get this handled. And so they set my surgery date, for May of 2017. So I did a right extended colectomy surgery, it's called. And about 2 weeks or so before the surgery, we got some other news about, from up north, but we'll go over that later. But it was interesting because, like, I'm a musician too, and I lived in Seattle, and I knew a lot of the Seattle players from way back that got famous and stuff, Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and all those guys.
Wow.
And so literally, like, the day that I had my surgery was the day that we lost Chris Cornell from Soundgarden. And so I woke up from the anesthesia in hearing this news. And it was just shocking. I was like, oh my gosh, so I just had the surgery and everything. And yeah, it was a really crazy time. I didn't know what to make of what was going on. I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know if I was going to have chemo at the time yet or not. They hadn't told me that yet.
So they were going to do the surgery and see how that goes, and then see if there was chemo
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, and then the bad news on that day, a lot of things going on at once.
Yeah.
How did you get through that? What held you together through that?
Well, all I could think of was my wife, everything that we'd already been through in life together.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd had a bit of a rough life before I met her. And so my goal was to give her the best life possible that I could,
Yeah.
And so I was just thinking, oh my gosh, and at the time this was going on too, my wife and I were my mom's caregivers because my mom was bedridden, and my dad was already gone. And so we were the caregivers for my mom.
So your mom is alone. You'd already lost your dad. She's bedridden because of her health and her age.
Yeah.
And now you get cancer. And then you have surgery for that, and you get the bad news about Soundgarden. And you're taking care of your mom.
Yeah. Yep. I was working nights, and my wife was working days, and we would switch off and take care of my mom. She was bedridden the last year of her life. She passed in September of 2018, but we were it,
Yeah.
And boy, luckily one of her friends kind of stepped up to help, but her friend was also around her age, so they can only do so much, and yeah, it just seemed like things just started piling on, and it was the worst timing possible to ever get any kind of a diagnosis like that.
Isn't that the way it goes with timing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I see in doing this broadcast, people who everything's just going great and they cruise on through, and then there are people where these sort of disasters start happening, and it seems like they pile up. It's never just one thing at a time. It's like we could almost handle that. But like in your case, you've named 3 things already, and I know there's more going on. So where was your faith at the time? Where was God through all this? I know you, and I know you pretty much grew up in the church, right?
I did, yeah.
Tell us about that time.
So my parents came from Dublin, Ireland. So I was raised Irish Catholic. My mom worked at the church. My dad sang in the church. And I went to Catholic schools growing up. And we went to church pretty much 7 days a week. I would go in the mornings before school started during the week, and then we'd go on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And we always had a priest or a monsignor at our house for dinner. And, my parents were just really involved. My dad was in the Knights of Columbus. And so I was raised in the church, in the Catholic religion. As I got older, the Catholic religion to me seemed a little strict, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Catholic school, the nuns that were there at the time weren't very nice, except for maybe 1 or 2. And back then, we're talking a long time ago. We're talking, the early 70s. They were allowed to strike you if they thought you were out of line.
Yeah.
And so I really did not like the nuns at the schools I was going to, and and the priests were nice. I was an altar boy for a while. I did that. But as I got older, I kind of was starting to explore different areas of Christianity and religion, and seeing what was more working for me, and so I was playing music with guys that would play music in church.
Yeah.
Like I took guitar lessons from a guy that was playing in the church, and so I played in rock bands that were playing Christian rock.
How old were you when you started the guitar lessons, started music?
I was 10.
10, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was 10, yeah. And so I would go to these different churches with these guys and watch them play at it, and I would watch the people and how they reacted, and it just seemed a little more to my liking, the younger crowd at the time, and it wasn't so strict and overbearing, and it was just more accepting of who you are, and they didn't care what you'd already done, if anything bad in life or anything like that. They accepted you for who you were, and everybody lifted everybody up, and I really enjoyed that a lot. I liked it a lot. So that was, I kind of steered away from the stricter Catholicism and went more towards just the regular Christian, newer type, and so I still I believe there's some of these things, they make you question, like the supreme being. Okay, they like, there's God, there's Jesus, there's Mary, Joseph, but when you go through things like cancer and things that happen to you or people in your family, it makes you question, like, okay, who are these people? How did they get their names? Who wrote the Bible? Who actually sat down and wrote the Bible? It makes you question a lot of things. It's like,
were you questioning? Were you struggling at that time whenever you got the cancer?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when something like that happens and it's out of your hands, you want to believe that there is a God or a higher power that can help you somehow overcome what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so at the same time, though, you're kind of like, why did you let this happen to me too? What did I do to deserve this? Right? And you take stake and you look back in your life and you're like, well, yeah, there was some things I did I probably shouldn't have, and maybe this is, my payback or something. But I don't know. After a while, I thought, I don't think that's what it is. But I just started questioning, why is this happening? And I still don't have the answer, but I did pray to God, and I just said, help.
Yeah.
Help, and He did.
Let me ask you, right at that time, something else happened. There was a tragedy with your grandson.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So our grandson was 12 at the time, and he was out joyriding with friends in the Pacific Northwest. And the driver was knew one of the boys. They were all the boys involved in the car. I think there was 4 boys in the car, and then the driver. She was a college student, and they were just joyriding. She had got this car, and they were joyriding in the middle of the night. They snuck out of the house, and nobody even knew they were out. And they were joyriding with this girl, and they were on a side road off the side of the freeway, and there was a hairpin turn, and the city had put K-rails up at the hairpin turn because there was like an open dirt area that cars would go into. Instead of making the turn, they would go straight into this dirt area, and they would do donuts and stuff in there, and kids would do crazy stuff in there.
Yeah.
So the city put up K-rails, and those are those big, huge concrete barriers that you see on the freeways. But they didn't put out any kind of notice about it or anything, and so she was going down this side road. Probably, I think they said she was probably doing about 80, and she turned her headlights off to scare the boys and hit the K-rail. And she upended like 5 times, I think it was. And our grandson, I've got different stories about what happened to him as the car was flipping over, but after the car stopped flipping over, he was ejected, and he was outside of the car with extensive head injuries and head and neck, and I mean, just I can't even describe how bad it was.
He had gone through the windshield.
Yeah.
And the car hit the K-rail.
He had gone through the windshield, yeah.
At full speed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is all during the time that you have cancer. So that's going on. You're taking care of your mom.
Yep.
You get this news about your grandson.
Yep.
Did you turn to prayer at that time for him?
I did, yeah. I did.
What were you praying for?
I prayed to God. I said, if you got to take somebody, take me. He was 12.
Yeah.
And I said, he doesn't deserve that, and my wife and my daughter and everybody doesn't deserve this kind of grief, and he was a good kid. And I just said, if you need to take somebody, take me. I didn't know what else to say. I just said, please spare him, And,
But what depth, what passion. You prayed, you would have given up your life for your grandson.
Yeah.
And that was in your prayers. That's passion.
Yeah.
That's deep.
And this happened, I want to say it was I think it was a few weeks before I had my surgery. And so my wife, I couldn't go anywhere because I was prepping for surgery and getting all the stuff ready, and my mom and everything. So my wife had to leave. And so my wife left, and she came back for the surgery, and then she had to leave right away again. Because this boy was messed up for a very, very, very long time, and it was touch and go for a very long time.
You were almost touch and go through that time. Yeah, at least you had this huge burden on your shoulders of your health, your grandson, your wife being gone. You got to take care of yourself. You're taking care of your mom at the same time. You were praying passionately for your grandson. Brian, do you still pray like that?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I do, yeah.
Awesome.
I do. Because, and not just for my grandson, I pray for my wife. I pray for a lot of people. My goal is that everybody has a good life and they're happy and they're financially stable and, able to enjoy life, and, but, what happened with my grandson was a real eye-opener. And after injuries like that, God stepped in, because if you sat and talked to my grandson today, you wouldn't even know anything had happened to him.
Yeah.
But the damage is done on the inside. So we're always worried, anything can happen anytime, and you have to be prepared for that.
Praise God. It's an absolute miracle that he survived that, and he's doing well at this point.
He's doing extremely well.
He was 12 when this happened. How old is he now?
I believe he's, he's 21, I think. Something like that, yeah.
About 9-10 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds like answered prayers to me.
Yeah, it was, yeah. It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you pray for yourself right now with that passion?
Man, every day.
Yeah.
Every day. I just
love it.
I just feel like, we're all under pressure every day. When you get up, you don't know what's going to happen. We're all under pressure to get out there and, do what we got to do. And, but when you're dealing with all these other things coming at you, diseases or financial losses or whatever it is, you need to, I think you need to turn to God, and you really need to pray, and you really need to ask for help and guidance or something, show me which way to go with this, because I need your help. I don't know which way to turn now. This is overwhelming me,
That's good advice, and that comes from your experience. So right now, let's talk about this humongous cyst on your kidney. What's the situation with that?
Well, it's a big one. It's 5 inches in diameter from what they told me. And I've been going to I saw my regular doctor. I went to nephrologist. Nephrologist was the one that actually showed me the first picture of it that I've seen, and it looks like a big softball. I was like, oh my gosh.
I've seen the picture. It's like a grapefruit in there. It's insane.
It's huge. He said in all of his years, he's never seen anything like this. And so I said, well, what do they do in this instance? And he said, well, I got to send you to a urologist, and then they will tell you what to do. But Most instances, they just leave it because most cysts they're benign and they just leave them. But they're only tiny little cysts. They're not one like this size.
Yeah.
And this one's growing exponentially. I mean, 2 years ago, it was 3, I think they said 3 centimeters. And now it's over 12, and in 2 years, oh my gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah,
So,
that's like a parasite on you.
yeah.
Now, have they done a biopsy to determine if it is cancerous or not?
No, that's the next step, I believe, is to get it biopsied. They said from what they could tell by the CT scan, it looked benign. But what's alarming is the rate of growth and, how big it is. And I just want it out. I said, I just want this out. I can feel it in there sometimes. It's like,
Sure.
it pushes on your stomach, and what else is it pushing on in there? My blood pressure shot up, so they got me on a heart monitor now. They got me on blood pressure meds, all this stuff. And this all just happened recently. It just came in and, I was just like, wow.
So here you are again in one of those moments in life. This is serious. You've seen the picture. You don't know as of today for sure whether it's cancerous or not. You're already a cancer survivor. I read something this morning that says, experience is not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you. So this is a big opportunity, wouldn't you say, as well as a big challenge?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say it is, yeah.
Let me dig into this a little bit. You're fairly new to town here, just came back to Prescott Valley. Have you found a church here yet?
No, we have not found a church here yet. We do have very close friends of ours that do go to a church. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. I'm sorry, but we have been looking around the area. Like I said, when I like the Christian churches. I don't like churches that are overbearing or always have their hand out, give us money and stuff like that. So we're at this point, no, we're not attending a church, but we've been talking about looking for one to attend.
Awesome.
So that is on the radar. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. How close do you feel to God right now? Is he hearing you? Could you hear him?
I'm kind of in the neutral area on that right now. I know, I've always been kind of close to God, no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in that neutral area now because all these other things are starting to happen again, and most of them aren't good.
It gets your attention.
And it gets
know.
your attention, and so I'm kind of like, oh, here we go again. Now what, and can you help me again on this, and sometimes I'll sit on the side of my bed and I'll just say, Lord, can you please help me this time and guide me to what to do here, because here we go again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like he's listening. I do feel like he's listening, but I also feel like he's kind of putting me through another lesson for some reason. I don't know why. Just a life lesson, I guess. I don't know, but the fact that he keeps sparing me, I'm here for a reason,
I can relate. I think it's because I'm a slow learner, and God just needs to keep me around a little longer since I've got a terminal diagnosis myself.
Right.
So yeah, this moment, this experience, it's an opportunity, is what I see. It's an opportunity to grow your faith. It's an opportunity to see God do miracles in your life. And it sounds like you need a miracle. Whenever your grandson was in that horrible accident going through the windshield, you prayed. I'm sure a lot of people prayed.
Yeah.
And he came out all right. Tough experience, but he came out all right.
Yeah, he did.
I think that's God at work.
Yeah.
Would you say that's fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want that same sort of miracle for you right now. I want to suggest 3 habits for you to start. Would that be something you'd be willing to try?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Well, it's easy. The first one sounds like you're already doing. I would say set aside a time to reflect and pray. Keep it simple to start with. If you're not doing it daily, for anybody who's not praying daily, don't try to go overboard and pray for 10 hours a day, 15 minutes a day. But I don't know if you do this or not. Do you set a time? Is there a specific time that you know you can sit down, clear your mind, be grateful, and pray each day?
It's usually in the evenings. I don't set a time,
Mm-hmm.
but usually in the evenings after the long day and things are kind of calming down a little bit is probably the best time to do that for me.
Awesome.
You know.
Okay, so you've got the first habit down. That's a daily prayer. And it's just easier to keep a habit if you have it at the same time. Some trigger for the habit, just do it daily. Spend that time with God. The second would be to read the Bible, like 15 minutes a day. Are you reading God's Word daily? Or is life just kind of...
I'm not reading it daily. I used to read it daily a long time
Yeah.
ago, but I'm not currently. No, I can't say I am.
Okay. That's where I want to encourage you. Make that a habit. Maybe right before, right after, or maybe that in the morning and prayer in the evening. Whatever you have to do that works for you, that you can do it consistently. Pick a time and read God's Word. See what He has to tell you through His Word. You can do that with a physical Bible. You can do it with an app. An advantage of doing that on an app on your phone or a tablet is that it will remind you. And also with the app, there are reading plans you can choose. You can get into a reading plan that'll just guide you through what to read when, or you can just open up to your favorite book of the Bible. Start New Testament, Old Testament, just start reading daily. Whatever works for you. That's not as important as just getting that habit back in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Right on. I would also, as a third habit, I love that you're new to town and you're looking for a church. Definitely connect with a solid, Bible-believing, Jesus-first church. You should be able to walk in and hear them preach Jesus right away. I know music is important to you, so worship is a part of that. Find some place where the worship music resonates with you. And hopefully not just self-centered, me, but worshiping God.
Yeah.
Lord, we love you, we honor you, you're amazing. That sort of worship. Look for that.
Yeah.
I would also invite you to check out CCV Church. They're down in the valley with about 18 campuses now, but they also opened a campus in Cottonwood, not far from here. But I suggest it for a couple reasons. First of all, they have world-class teaching, and you can stream it online. So as you transition, instead of jumping into church activities all at once, just watch it online. Stream, start there. But along with that, if you do the online streaming, check their website and find a local home group. Even though CCV does not have a campus here in the Prescott area, they do have home groups all over northern Arizona. Check their website. That will let you connect with people of like mind who can encourage you through this journey as you deal with this cyst on your kidney and everything else that goes on in life.
Okay.
Is that a plan?
Sure. Yeah.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
considering that. Can you imagine? So if you know the deal. If you do these habits, in addition to your prayer, get the reading and the fellowship through church and learning through good sermons back into your life. Can you see how that might change your identity or your view of yourself?
Yeah, I can see that. I remember how it used to feel when I was going to church before with my folks. And there was definitely a positive to it. I'd like to get back to that again. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Brian, thank you for being here today. Thanks for opening up and sharing personal things about your life. I know your story and your faith will inspire others. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
You can find this episode and all Crossing the Threshold episodes on most major podcast platforms. And by the way, if you are going through challenges in your own life and would like to learn some practical skills for finding the clarity and confidence to step out in faith, I offer a very affordable half-day workshop that does just that. You can check the schedule and find out more about that on my website, GarrettHamlin.com. And also, as we said at the beginning, I know Brian Butler as an amazing real estate agent. If you Google Brian Butler Realtor, you can find him in the Prescott area and the Verde Valley. Reach out to him. I'd recommend him. And finally, if you are not attending a church right now, I invite you to check out CCV, Christ Church of the Valley. As we said, they have a campus in Cottonwood, small home groups all across northern Arizona, and you can watch their service online from anywhere. Try them out at ccv.church and see what happens in your life. Until next week, seek peace, be strong, and move mountains.